With identity theft on the rise, many experts recommend everyone freeze their credit, believed to be the best tool to prevent financial ID theft. But in most states, a credit freeze is only available for adults. Studies show kids can be at even greater risk. Now, a new law.
Well, if I were trying to steal somebody's credit history, I'd steal the kids.
The Federal Trade Commission's David Newman says children's Social Security numbers can be a target for ID thieves because their unused credit history offers a clean slate for crooks.
They're not going to know about it for a dozen years.
We've met several child ID theft victims.
Don't know what credit is, but I know it's not good to have bad credit.
And millions more are at risk due to reoccurring hacks that expose their sensitive information.
Credit freeze is a fabulous idea.
A credit freeze or security freeze prevents crooks from running the credit checks necessary to open accounts with your Social Security number. For adults, it's a simple, secure online process. I froze my credit in 10 minutes on TV. But for years, the bureaus have refused to let parents freeze their kids' credit file unless the child is already a victim.
Credit bureaus make their money selling your information to would-be creditors. In the case of children who aren't applying for credit, they don't make any money off that account.
Recognizing the unmatched value of a credit freeze, nearly 24 states passed individual laws requiring the bureaus allow child credit freezes. California was not one of them. So, last year, we found a loophole that surprised even some at the bureaus. We added my toddler as an authorized user on my credit card, which created a credit file, not a report or a score, but a file that they had to let us freeze. However, as we set out to create a step-by-step guide for other parents, we discovered the bureaus were putting both parents and kids at even greater risk. They asked parents to mail the necessary documents to a P.O. box. The address alone is enough to tip off thieves. An entire identity is inside. And when we called to request a more secure alternative,
You need my daughter's Social Security number, but you won't give me your employee ID?
foreign call center employees refused to even transfer us to the U.S. until we gave them my child's Social Security number, but said they had no employee ID numbers to let us track who we were giving it to.
If someone is sitting there and they manage to memorize one name and one Social Security number a day, that's probably more than they make in a month.
Over the next 6 months, the bureaus did begin to make some changes. Experian now lets you upload documents online. TransUnion and Equifax will give you a fax number, but you have to know to ask. And that's only if you live in a state that requires they let you freeze your kids' credit in the first place, or you know about the loophole we found.
I had to get my 18-month-old daughter a credit card so I could freeze her credit.
No parent should be forced to do that.
Assemblyman Mike Gatto was shocked by what we found.
For California not to allow minors to have credit freezes just doesn't make sense.
So, citing our work, he introduced California child credit freeze legislation. It unanimously passed the state assembly and House this year, was signed by the governor, and takes effect in January. Now, all California parents have the right to protect their kids' credit before it's compromised.
This is something that ought to be a national policy.
And it may soon be. Equifax now voluntarily offers credit freezes for every child, but you have to freeze a file with all 3 bureaus, and Experian and TransUnion still refuse. New federal legislation would force them to allow freezes for all kids. It picked up half a dozen new co-sponsors following our reports. One of those co-sponsors, California Congresswoman Jackie Speer, who also took action this year following another one of our ID theft investigations.
This bill was introduced before, and when you first drew attention to this issue, we called the authors.
The Democrat reached across the aisle asking Republican Dennis Ross to reintroduce his Safeguarding Social Security Numbers Act this year, following a series of our reports.
I was astounded to see that my Social Security number on all those documents.
Someone took my mail, had my Social Security number, they could steal my identity.
This is ridiculous.
First, we revealed one of California's largest agencies was violating state privacy laws by printing full Social Security numbers on millions of unemployment and disability documents sent out in the mail. Then we discovered they repeatedly sent that sensitive information to the wrong address.
How in the world did this piece of paper get into an envelope addressed to me?
The agency told us federal law, which supersedes state law, required it use Social Security numbers in the administration of benefits, though the Social Security Administration later confirmed there is no federal law requiring or prohibiting the number on mailed documents. And we learned California was not alone. We contacted unemployment and disability agencies nationwide, and only 8 states told us they redact Social Security numbers on all mail documents, despite the increasing threat of ID theft and mail theft.
This is an important issue.
The Safeguarding Social Security Numbers Act would, for the first time, prohibit government agencies from displaying or mailing full Social Security numbers.
It's really negligence.
The legislation is currently pending in Congress.